Welcome to the Healing Our Sight podcast. I'm your host, Denise Allen, and today I have my friend Melissa Daniels with me again. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you, Denise. It's always fun to be back.
It's great to have another chance to chat about what we're so passionate about, right?
Absolutely. It's my favorite thing to talk about.
Yes, me too. Um, Tell us a little bit about where you are now. I think my regular listeners are going to know who you are and what you do and all of that, your great website and your YouTube channel and all of the stuff, right? Um, but how do you feel today versus when you started?
Well, it's been 7 years. So, 7 years ago, I started my journey and I was a patient for 5 years. And I still consider myself a patient. My vision is an ongoing project, but I also started working as a vision therapist about 2.5 years ago. So, I don't know if your listeners know that or not. It's not something I talk a ton about, but um, it is definitely very different, you know? There's still a lot of actually the same struggles. It just looks different, right? Like, I still
Yes.
struggle with the same things that when I was a patient that I struggle with as a vision therapist working with patients. It's like, okay, this is just my personality and something that I have to work on overcoming forever.
Okay. Well, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, as a patient, I always struggled with wanting to rush things. I always was thinking about the money because vision therapy is expensive. And I thought, okay, I have to do this fast. Like, I have to do my exercises for 2 hours a day. In the appointments, I'd be very intense, like trying to get to the next thing and just like right? Like, because it was all money. Like, I just could see only in dollar signs.
Okay.
And that stress that I was putting on myself actually was very counterproductive to my progress, right? And as a
Mhm.
vision therapist, I find myself doing the same thing because I'm thinking of their dollar signs and how much they're
Okay.
spending. It's like I have to rush through, and that's again very counterproductive to good therapy.
Right. Yeah. I didn't even think about it that way. So that it's interesting that that's your, motivation on both sides of it. I think that there are probably a lot of people who can relate to that.
Oh, definitely. It's so funny because the doctor constantly is telling me, Melissa, you are not allowed to think about their finances. Don't think about it. You just have to pretend they're getting like it like messes with your brain and then you're not doing as good of a job. And I'm like, I know. So it's
Yeah.
definitely like, I think probably partly the way I was raised and just like my whole thing. It just to me it's very funny. But now I've recognized it and I figured it out as a patient and then I
Mhm.
was able to make a lot of progress. And then I started doing it again as a therapist. And now I kind of figured it out and I'm not doing that as much anymore. So it's funny. It's like, wow, it's a very parallel journey.
Okay. Yeah. It points out the places where you still have work to do, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how has becoming a therapist changed your perspective on the whole healing process? Or has it? Maybe it hasn't. Maybe you still have the same perspective.
It's definitely I think I just see the bigger picture now. I think before I thought everyone would kind of fit into a box and, this is the right way to do it for everyone. There was a straightforward path and that was the path I took, right? And it's like you need to do this, step A, step B, step C. And as a therapist, I see such a variety of patients, right? Most of my patients don't have strabismus. A few of them do, but we've got all sorts of different types of vision dysfunctions going on, whether it's from a traumatic brain injury or just a little kid who can't use their focusing system right. And then, of course, the strabismus too. But even if I had 10 patients all with strabismus, the approach would be different for every single one. Right.
Mhm.
And I think that it just has opened my mind to realize, oh, there's not one cookie cutter way. Like you have to basically get inside of that person's brain and figure out where it is right now and where we're trying to go. And yeah, like my experience, there's I tried a lot of different things. And so that's been really helpful because I have a lot of ideas to try. but the same things don't work with every person. And so it's like a lot of trial and error with, okay, let's try this program, let's try this tool, let's try these different things because it doesn't matter if they have the same diagnosis. It's the same stuff doesn't work every time.
Right. I have heard that from a few people. It's definitely, not a one size fits all approach.
Although now I have to like go against what I just said. And there's also a thing where there are 1,000 tools, and picking the right tool isn't necessarily the most important part. It's how you use the tool. So you can get somebody like one of the greats that's like amazing at vision therapy, and their only tool is a Brock streak and
Mm,
a bullseye card. I don't know, like two really simple things, and they can do an entire therapy program effectively with just that one tool because they know how to speak to like the brain's understanding and how to approach it and how to use that tool in the right way. So it's not so much about the tool, but how you use it. And so a lot of people will say, okay, well, what's the best tool for strabismus? And I'm like, I don't know. It depends on who's using it because it depends on how it's being used. Like you could use an amazing tool in a really dumb way, and then it's not going to be effective at all. Or you can use kind of a simple, boring tool, but like really in a genius way and get
mhm.
great results. So, I don't know. It's just not as straightforward as I thought it was gonna be.
Okay, yeah, and as a therapist, you probably thought, "Oh, I'm gonna learn all the stuff, and then I'll know exactly what to do with each patient," right?
Right, it was like, "Oh, yeah, I just have to learn all the exercises, and then I'll be taught the order, and then I'll just follow that, and it'll always work." And that's just I mean, yes, we have protocols and, like, try this first and second and third, and, it does work, in some ways, but there's just a lot more, um going around a different direction, like, "Okay, well, we tried that, and then we're gonna try it a little differently." Like, there's just a lot of mini adjustments that are constantly happening,
Mhm.
and, a big thing I think about as a therapist is I kinda laugh at those times when I was trying to do the therapy on my own, because 'cause I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, I had no idea, and it takes somebody from the outside looking in to really figure out what needs to happen next. It's really hard to do that for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And have you changed what you do at home in your own therapy based on what you've learned as a therapist yourself?
I honestly don't do very much at home anymore. If I'm being totally honest, like, I will a little bit. Usually, it's just I'll, like, play on something at work.
Mhm.
Um, I definitely do I guess I've put more of a focus on, like, some of the primitive reflex work that I ignored while I was in therapy. I think we've talked about this before, but that's something that I was like, that's weird. That's just for kids." And now I'm realizing more and more that that is probably a big part of why I haven't been able to, like, really get to the next level with my therapy. So
Okay.
there's, all those reflexes in your body. And so like in vision therapy, I don't know if you had to do this at your office, but you're doing like these floor exercises, right? You're working on like getting both sides of your body working together, and you're working on the moral reflex or these different reflexes. And yeah, I just kind of ignore that. And so I do try to actually do more of that now. And then when I'm at work and I have a minute or whatever, I'm working with the patient, sometimes I'll throw on the glasses and do it with them.
Okay.
But I actually get too distracted, so I have to resist that temptation.
I've noticed that I don't do as much at home either. I mean, I got pretty great results anyway, but after I asked my doctor what my numbers were, I realized I really could improve my far distant 3D, and so I'm working on that a little bit more. At least thinking about it
Oh,
a little more.
yeah. And I think it's a good sign, like, that we don't have to continuously do eye exercises every day, right? Like, that
Right.
my vision is pretty stable. I don't get any double vision.
Mhm.
My depth is pretty good. I got that concussion about 6 months ago, and I'm getting almost feeling back to normal after that. It's not perfect. So again, like I feel like the primitive reflexes and some really like basic eye movements are what my brain need right now, and that's more related to the concussion than my strabismus. So
Mhm. Okay.
I don't know. I think it's a good sign that I'm not
Yeah.
having to work on it constantly. That's what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the stability is so important. Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. Looking back, what do you wish that you would have done differently in your journey now that you have the experience of being a therapist?
Oh man. Part of me is like, I had the exact journey I was supposed to have, right? But
Mhm,
also, I could have made things go faster if I would just have listened to my doctor, and just trusted that process and started envision therapy sooner.
mhm,
I definitely like tried to do it on my own, and then I tried to go once a month and then every other week, right? I wasn't all in on therapy because I still in the back of my mind thought, I don't think I need someone to help me with this. And it'll be cheaper and faster if I can get the right programs. I'm a hard worker and I can get this on my own. And looking back, I realized like, oh my gosh, no, I needed someone to help me. I needed the right tools. I needed the right expertise. So I wish, like, I think I could have cut off a lot of time if I had just gone all in and actually listened to him because the things he was having me do were really important. And I was like, I don't think that's important. Like, I kind of thought I know more than he does. And so it's
mhm,
okay, like, I had to learn, right? Like, that's just how, my brain operates is I have to, like, learn the hard way sometimes.
mhm,
But, going back, that would have definitely sped up the process if I hadn't ignored I always joke, like, I thought eye stretches were so dumb. So eye stretches when you, like, look at an object and you follow it with your eyes. And I thought,
mhm.
"Obviously, I can do that." Like, this is not a problem for me. That's very easy. And so I just would ignore that. Like he would have me working on that every day and like that was a home exercise for months. And I was like, I just didn't do that part. I would be like, "Oh no, I'm going to do my red and green glasses and do all those things." But I wouldn't do like the basic foundational. And finally, he like had a heart to heart and he's like, "Your eyes jump. They don't move smoothly." And I'm like, "Yes, they do." He's like, "No, they don't." So I took a video and I saw that and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they do." And when I really like went all in on just those basic eye movements, can I just move my eyes smoothly up and down and side to side and in circles? And then I started like trying to do it with actually with my eyes closed. And so it was like
Mhm,
an eye control and like feeling my muscles move in my head and doing that smoothly. I actually was able to do the 3D exercises so much better because I had so much more awareness of, like, where my eyes were and what they were doing. It and that still kind of boggles my mind as to why that happens, but I see it with my patients all the time too, like, those basic eye movements are actually so important. It's not just like a, "Oh, do this," like, "Do some jumping jacks," right? Like, no, this is actually, like, so foundational, and you have to have that foundation. So like, those are the
mhm.
2 big things was just, trusting him, and I guess they go together. But
Yeah.
I would have definitely gone all in on those eye movements in the beginning because they're so important.
And do you have patients that fight you on that too, just like you did?
I
Or
usually give
not
them
as
a
much?
really strong pep talk. That's where my experience comes in, and I just because I just say, "I know you think this is stupid, and I know you think you can use your peripheral, and I know you think you can move your eyes, but just will you just trust me?" And sometimes I don't know if they do or don't, but
Uh-huh.
I usually am pretty quick just because of what I experienced. I'm pretty quick to take a video while we're sitting in the office and show them what is happening, and then show
Uh-huh.
them their eyes, and I don't know. I spend a lot of time talking about it because I know how
You
I
see the
felt.
value.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just know how I felt as a patient, and it felt like a filler exercise. It just felt like,
Mm.
"Oh, yeah, just do that." That's a cute little I'm like, nah, not for me." So, I don't know. But yes, patients definitely want to just get to, like, the exciting exercises.
Mhm. Using all the tools and the computer programs and
And
all
the
the stuff.
lenses, like, it just feels
Mhm.
more like something to pay for when you've got, like, a fancy tool versus a
Mhm.
pencil, right? Like, why am I
Right.
paying somebody to have me look at a pencil? Like, it just doesn't feel like good value. And so,
Yeah.
you know, same with luster, wearing the red and green glasses and looking at a white sheet of paper. It's like very boring. and feels very pointless and like, why am I paying for this? But so much value. Again, like these things that don't feel like they have value, but they really do.
Mhm. So it sounds like the foundational piece is just the trust part, where you trust that the person that you're going to see, who's helping you is really gonna tell you the right things to do,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. And just going with it. And maybe even if you don't understand why,
Mhm.
just trusting that process. I love to ask a million questions personally to learn why, but sometimes I just don't listen well enough to get the answer.
Well, sometimes it's an understanding thing too. They can tell you all the stuff, but unless you really have the background or the, I don't know, capacity to take it all in, there's just so much to take in.
Right.
And then and understanding all of it at once is a challenge sometimes.
That's so true. And so that's the trust, right? Like, I can't possibly understand all of this. So I'm going to have to trust somebody who has more experience and just
Mhm.
listen to them.
Right. Yeah. So, what do you think the qualities are that predict success in vision therapy when you're working with the patients that you have?
I would say working on your home exercises. It makes all the difference. Like, I have a little guy, and I don't think he's ever missed doing his home exercises. He's like 11,
Mm.
and the progress he has strabismus. The progress that I have seen with him is amazing, and it's just he every week, he is reaching new levels and new I mean, I'm able to push him so much further than I've ever been able to push another patient because he's so consistent, and so
Mhm.
that is just that constant time for his brain to be learning, right? I always think of it like, your brain maybe with people who are in vision therapy, for some reason or another, like, the connection between the brain and the eyes is like a jungle, is how I
Mm.
think of it. And we start out by, like, bushwhacking to get, like, from one area to the other, and then a trail starts to form, and then, like, maybe it's like, uh, you could take, like, a four-wheeler, right? So it's, like, really bumpy, and then someone comes through and right, and then becomes eventually, like, a big freeway. But
Okay.
that's, like, the process, and so if you're working on that, if you're taking that trail more and more and more, more frequently that trail is taken, the faster that trail is built.
Mm.
And so when you're only coming, you get people that come in once a week, and they maybe do their home exercises once a week or not at all, and you just don't see near the progress because it takes that, like, consistent effort, especially when it comes to strabismus and amblyopia. It just
Mhm.
if you're not doing home exercises, you're just not gonna see that progress. That to me is the biggest predictor of success. It's not the exercise. I mean, it is, but most of the
Mhm.
exercises are gonna help, right? Like, it's not
Right,
like
that's why you give them to 'em.
like,
Right.
but, like, even, like, I'm thinking of listeners who are going to a different office who maybe do a different type of exercise than we do at our office, like,
Uh-huh.
but it's that consistently, like, thinking about your vision, working with your vision, that's what makes the success happen, and I feel like that's what makes it, like, lock in for a long period of time, forever, versus, like, okay, we can kinda, like, pull out some gains while you're in the session, and you have a little bit of gain by the end of the session, and we're just, like, very slowly building, but, man, when they start doing that home therapy, you can just
Mhm.
see such a huge difference.
Yeah. Do you think that, there's a place in their therapy where people just make a shift and then you see progress, or it's just the mindset they come into it with?
Oh, no, you'll see all the time, like, somebody will start and they're, like, really gung ho, and they're making progress,
Mhm.
and then they just kinda stop, and then their progress slows down, and then you give them a pep talk, and they start again, and all of a sudden their progress starts off again, and so you see that, like, up and down, and so as a therapist, my job is to point that out to them and say, "I'm
Okay.
noticing you are making huge gains. Have you by chance been doing anything differently at home?" And they're like, "As a matter of fact, I have," and I'm like, "Oh, fancy? See, like, wow, that's crazy. Imagine that. So, yes, like lots of patients will have that turning point where they all of a sudden see that connection.
Mhm.
And then they also start being more willing in office to like do some of the weirder things that like working with yolk prism or some of these things that maybe aren't logically like what they would think they would need, right? But
Mhm.
they are more engaged and they're like, "Oh, when you say think about space and open your periphery, you like really mean it." I'm like, "Uh-huh." And like so like once they start seeing that space, like especially for someone with strabismus, once they start like experience how thinking about the space and periphery, I talk about this all the time. I have my course, right? Like it's
Mhm.
something that's really important. I feel like once I find they were like in the middle of an exercise and I'm like, okay, think about the distance between you and what you're looking at and that what's behind you or whatever I'm talking about in that specific thing. And then all of a sudden they see the depth on whatever exercise they're looking at, it like pops and they all of a sudden see it and they're like, "Oh, oh my gosh, I see it." And I'm like, "Okay." And they're like, "Oh yeah, it just happened." And I'm like, "Wait, but weren't you thinking about space?" And so then if I can help them find that connection and they start making the connection that when they think of their periphery, it helps them see depth, that
Mhm.
can be a big turning point where they start pointing it out themselves like, "Oh, I need to open my periphery. Oh, I need to think about space." Like I don't have to tell them anymore because they recognize like internally like, "Oh, this is changing the way I see and the way I do my exercises."
Mhm. That's awesome. Do you ever see people go the opposite direction where it's like, "Oh, I see it, now I'm scared and I'm not gonna open up to that," and then they just, like, shut down?
Oh, all the time. So many times. They'll, like, have an exercise, and I'll be like, "Okay," I think a lot like the eccentric circles, um, or the lifesaver cards, where I'll show an example for people who are on video, but, you've got, like, there's cards like this, they're fusion cards, and you basically have to either cross your eyes or relax your eyes, and you can make, like, a 3rd magical picture in the middle. And so many times you're working and they can't see anything. They can't see anything and they're looking and you're giving them all the tricks and blah, 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 blah. And they'll see it. And then they hurry and put the card down and be like, I saw it. And I'm like, wait, why did you put the card down? And they're like, I don't know. That was weird. Or like, you can just see their body. Like, you watch the body language and you can see as soon as they start doing it, they like start getting kind of like uncomfortable and wiggly. And you're like, hey, how you feeling? What are you feeling in your body right now? So it definitely, you can watch like the body language. And some people like it can be really uncomfortable. Like, they're like, I didn't like that. That
Mhm.
was too much. Or you show them a vectogram, like a 3D vectogram where it floats towards them, and you see them physically, like, pull back and pull in, and they're like it's very like, they don't like it, and so, for those people, we have to have a pep talk. Right? There's so many pep talks in vision therapy, but like, "Hey, I'm gonna show you something, and it might feel uncomfortable, and it's gonna be in your space. Can you be okay with that? Can you sit in the
Mm.
discomfort?" It's just like when bad things happen in life, right? Like, when you feel, like, scared or sad and you have to, like, feel your emotions, like, same thing with vision, like, we're gonna feel something, it's gonna feel a little uncomfortable, like, "Are you in?" And they always say yes, right? If they're like, "Yes, I am." And I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna just breathe, and we're just gonna sit there and, like, let it be in your space." And they have to really, like, there's, like, a mental component they have to, like, really work through, and then eventually they get through that part, but yeah,
Mm.
it can be really very uncomfortable sometimes, especially that 3D.
Yeah. We don't always think about the emotional components of all of what's happening with our vision, though. I
Oh,
think
for
it's
sure,
a key aspect that we have to deal with if we're gonna move into actually seeing the depth, right?
right? You have to want to see it, right? If
Mm.
you have to want the change, you have to be okay, like, you have to accept that things are gonna be different and it's gonna be uncomfortable there in the middle, like, it's
Yeah.
definitely a great metaphor for life, right? Like,
Right?
I'm like,
Well, and do you see it in your life? Like, the fact that you've gone through this whole journey, I know for me, it's made me a different person.
absolutely.
And, did you ever even think you'd be doing what you're doing right now?
No, definitely not. I actually have a video, like my video going on YouTube on November 14th. It's all about my gratitude for my journey with strabismus and
Mm.
reasons why I'm so grateful and how it has changed my whole life because it has. Like my life doesn't look like it I thought it would. And it's changed me, physically, like, yeah, I can use my eyes and they're straight and whatever, right? Like that's fine. But the bigger change is like, there's something that changes when you face something really difficult
Mhm.
and you stick it out and you work through it, and the parts where you wanna quit and it's emotional and tough, and then you just keep going, and then you come out, it's like the butterfly at the other end, right? Like, I mean, that's what changes you, and it's an
Uh-huh.
amazing process, and man, like, but don't start if you don't wanna be a different person at the end.
Right.
Can't help it.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you see that there any kind of parallels between binocular vision ability and how we are as people? I mean, we kinda talked about this a little bit, the fact that we've become different people, and we see, like, a bigger, broader perspective and more depth and all of that in other parts of life, right? Because we can see in 3D now.
Right.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what your thoughts are on that.
I think that it opens your mind. So, we only could see in 2D, right?
Mm,
And we thought that's just how things are. That's just what life is. And then you learn how to see in 3D. And so you have that physical change. There's literally a physical change with how you see the world. And that opens your mind to think maybe things aren't what I thought they were. Maybe I'm wrong about other things too. Maybe neuroplasticity is possible in other parts of my life. Maybe I can change my brain and I don't have to be, like all these things that maybe hold you back in other areas, emotional or physical, whatever it is, but recognizing like, oh, I'm 35 years old and I changed something huge about my vision. Like, what else is possible? So I think it's opened my mind to so many more possibilities and just understanding change is possible. And I don't know everything.
mhm.
And my version of reality might not be reality. Like, you don't really know. Like, it just has kind of helped me realize, like, I know a lot less than I thought I did, and change is so possible in so many ways. And so I think that just broadens your view of life because there's not as many restrictions in my mind. Like, oh, maybe people tell me something's impossible or something doesn't work or something's woo woo. I'm like, maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I kind of just choose to believe in everything, and you know what? It's serving me pretty well in my life. And so I don't know. I think vision therapy, like that, gave me like something to hold on to. Like, no, it is possible to overcome things that people say are impossible.
Right.
And now I guess that's so empowering. Are you kidding me? Like, it's so empowering, and it does. It changes your perspective on life in general.
Yeah. It has for me too, and I would have never dreamed that I would have this purpose, in sharing what I've learned on such a broader scale too.
Right. I mean, I went to school to become a math teacher. That's what I have a degree in. Like, I never thought I would ever have a YouTube channel. Like, it's just kind of funny. Like, even thinking about it, like saying it out loud sounds so silly to me. But
Mhm.
like, it is so, for me, it's the most fulfilling thing in the world to be able to meet other people with strabismus and help them through their journeys. And it yeah, it has given my life such a different purpose than I ever thought I would have. And if someone had told me this 20 years ago, I would have been like, "I don't have a lazy eye. What are you talking about?" It was definitely not on the radar. Like, I am going to have a YouTube channel and a website. Like, I didn't even know the first thing about any, like, it just was so not on my radar, but it has given my life so much purpose and direction, which, I mean, it's amazing. And it's not the same, I say this in the video that I made, but it's not the same for everyone. Everyone with strabismus isn't going to be like, and now I will start a podcast or a YouTube channel, right? Like, but
Right.
it's going to change them in other ways in their life that makes sense for them, right? It's
Mhm.
we all, it's that change in your brain that opens up those possibilities. And who knows where it's going to take each person. Each person's going to take it and run in a different direction, but it does open up that brain and open up those possibilities.
Absolutely. Awesome. Do you have any little tricks that you want to share with the listeners on how you stay motivated as as a therapist, as a recovered strabismic person, um, that people can kind of I don't know, integrate into their own experience?
I think the biggest thing for whether, you can think about this physically or emotionally, but it's easier to give an example physically.
Hmm.
A big thing is how are you going to integrate that into your actual life? Okay, I can do eye stretches. I can see the 3D pictures, or right, I can do all these different tricks that I learn in vision therapy. But
Hmm.
how am I actually applying that into how I drive, into how I play tennis, and how I chop vegetables in my kitchen? And thinking about that, okay, how can I do this? That's going to be more powerful than any home exercise program is actually integrating it into how you live life.
Hmm.
That's what makes it stick, right? That's why I don't have to do home exercise. I don't just sit and do eye exercises because I'm doing exercises all the time. When I'm driving, I'm thinking about my periphery. When I'm doing, I'm looking for different things. Like it's just part of my way of life. And that keeps my eyes consistently working together. And that's why I don't have to do home exercises. That's the biggest thing. So figure that out. How do I integrate this into what I'm doing? And also like with your brain, like one of the biggest things is you have to sit in the discomfort, right? You have to be willing for things to not feel comfortable for a while before you get to the other end of that vision therapy, right? It's not going to be a straight path. And so just be okay. Like, hey, it's not going to be easy the whole time. And I can actually be uncomfortable and it doesn't kill me. I can actually feel some anxiety and feel pressure and feel nervous and feel annoyed, like, all those things, I can feel it all, and it's totally fine. It's not harming me, it's not harming anyone else, like, we're gonna do discomfort for a little while, and just being willing to sit with that makes a huge difference.
I love it. I've noticed that too, and sometimes my eyes get just tense, and I think, "Okay, why am I feeling like this?" And then I'll be like, "Okay, just relax outward," I just
Mhm.
expand in the periphery, relax my eyes, or I'll palm,
Yes.
and it just makes a big difference.
Right, and even sitting there when your eyes feel tense and being like, "Huh, this is what tense eyes feel like. What is that? Like, where do I feel it? Do I feel it, like, below or above?" Like, really, like, explore or, like, when people have double vision, like, "Oh, I'm having double vision," and, like, there's, like, this instinct of to fix it right away,
Yeah.
and it's, like, intense, and like, "Hurry, hurry and fix it," and I do it's the opposite. "Huh, double vision, that's interesting. How far apart are they? Are they both the same clarity?" Like, I just start, like, exploring it, and then it goes away, and I can't study it anymore because I relaxed,
Ah, yes,
right? When you
yes.
start relaxing and you're like, "Wait a second, what happened? My eyes don't feel tense anymore. I was trying to feel the tense, and it's not." Right? Like, that's what happens, but if you just, like, sit in it, right? You
Mhm.
just allow it and be like, "Oh, what does that feel like? Okay, that's weird.
Yeah,
That's fine." The
be
eyes do
aware.
weird things sometimes. We're here for it. I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, and it's the awareness, and
Mhm.
then using the tools that we've learned.
Absolutely.
I think that's very key. Awesome. I love it. Well, I think we're gonna need to wrap things up because you're a busy woman. And do you wanna share your links for your website and your YouTube channel for the listeners that maybe are new and haven't become familiar with you yet?
Oh, sure. You can find me if you like video, you can go to YouTube, and my channel is called Strabismus to Stereopsis. And I also have a website. If you go over to learn.strabismussolutions.com, I have a lot of resources over there. Got the Mastering Peripheral course. You can sign up for Zoom calls. You can have a quiz. It's really fun. It's free. You just go take it and it kind of takes you through a little ride on like where your vision is at and then gives you some recommendations for what next steps could be. So that's kind of a fun little quiz. So yeah, if you want more resources, I'm sure Denise will put them in the description. The show notes is what they're called on podcasts.
They will all be in the show notes. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us today, Melissa.
Of course, thank you for having me on. It's always so fun to chat.
We'll have to make it a regular thing, maybe.
Okay.
I would love that.
Be so fun.
Thank you for listening to the Healing Our Sight podcast. I'd love to hear from you. Please share and also join our Facebook community at Healing Our Sight to leave suggestions or comments. Have a great day.